Tobias. That's a very energizing presentation we just heard. But I guess on that optimistic note of what is required in terms of infrastructure, can you tell us a little bit about Allianz here in the region and what are the opportunities you're seeing to invest in infrastructure here?
Absolutely, and thank you for having me, especially also to the ADGM. And if I do not move my head, this is not because I'm German and I'm a robot. I figured out yesterday the mics don't work properly if I don't speak like this. So please accept my apologies in advance. So look, we have been serving the region now for more than 3 decades, 4 decades already in a fly-in, fly-out approach. And we serve our clients in more than 25 countries with more than 30 offices around the globe. And there was one missing piece, and the growth of ADGM shows it, right? In 2023, ADGM grew the asset base by 35%, and in 2024 by 245. So this is the place to be. We had to decide between Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I learned early on, Dubai is party, Abu Dhabi is hard work. So that's the reason why our team sits here. I apologize, so they can party over the weekend. It's not far away. But we are here really, joking aside, to serve our clients better. So this is our hub now for the GCC. This is where we start with the team. We'll also bring in investors very soon. So Q1, we're going to place a couple of infrastructure guys here on the ground, and hopefully also can serve the region with our knowledge much better.
Yeah, and are you the demographics, the regulatory framework, this is what kind of drawing you here? You see this runway coming through?
Okay, we only have 11 minutes left, Mohammed. And if you talk about regulatory experiences as a CEO, you deal with any and everything. But I have to say, kudos and really a big shout out to the ADGM IFC here, also to the regulator, very pragmatic. And I think Europe is not doing itself a favor right now where we stand, right? It's still a monetary union more than a political union. There are too many voices. You see this if you think about ESG, right? You talk to the French regulator, AMF tells you, oh, Tobias, you have to give a guarantee. You speak to the German BaFin, they say, yeah, that's quite okay. The Swiss say, we don't like both. So it's really a safe place for a very open discussion. You get very good and instant feedback. And I think this is also part of the success story of ADGM right now.
Okay. So as an asset class, right, infrastructure in this region has been historically dominated by the public sector. They come out, they allocate, they build, they kind of own. That seems to be changing somewhat. Where is the role that you're finding for more private capital to come in?
Look, from private capital perspective, and we manage more than 700 billion US dollars under the hood of Allianz Global Investors, both public and private, and the private piece is around 120. So the new numbers are coming out. It's even a little bit bigger. We manage the money for most probably one of the most successful financial companies on this planet called Allianz. And we're very proud to be part of it. And we have a huge expertise, more than 100 years in infrastructure. We have a huge capital also in the middle market lending piece, which was back then called corporate loans. And we do pretty much everything, but we do focus very much on infrastructure debt and on the equity side. And on the private credit side, we focus very much on loans, on the one middle lending, but also secondaries and PE. This is what we do. We don't do real estate. We're not good in that. So you need to choose your fights wisely. And this is where we focus and really bring a lot of expertise to the table.
And how much, can you give us an idea of like how much you've deployed here in the region, or at least the growth of it?
It's 8% of our asset base is based here in the Middle East. And we really, you see this when you think about the trillions in the region. This is not now a European coming in after the US already had been here and saying, oh, give me all your money, and then we fly out again. I think the expertise and the uniqueness is also, if you have an insurance company, as a parent, we have a different risk appetite on the one hand side. You can say maybe the boring is the new sexy, but we are very long-term oriented, right? So why we got into infrastructure 20 years ago was very much, it is a perfect duration match to our life book, right? So on the longevity side, we do sometimes swap mortality with longevity, but still, our longest duration we have on the book is 77 years.
77 years.
7-7.
Yeah, that's the longest vision I think we have around.
I won't be here for the Abu Dhabi Finance Week. This is then the 82nd edition.
Still. I hope I make it. So we made it less than halfway through, and we have to talk about AI, obviously, and data centers. So this is the super theme that's been emerging. Uh, Tens of billions, probably hundreds of billions of dollars that are going to be deployed
Yeah.
if their visions are successful. Where do you how do you get a slice of this? What are you looking at?
Look, we had super panels already up here speaking about data centers. And what I sometimes tend to say, look, are you talking about data centers? And you can compare this sometimes with military barracks. Don't put me in the madhouse. Is this now from a real estate perspective, or is it just ground plant and then you put a data storage in? Yes, we do it, but we focus much more on the energy side. We have heard this. I think the energy demand, right? 3 trillion, 2 trillion out of this is pretty much clean energy. We have been one of the first investors in Europe 20 years ago. Solar, turbine. We just recently launched one of the first green hydrogen mills in Norway. So we also think about the energy transition going forward, because a lot of people still forget you need to deploy that one big data center, 800 gigawatt.
Yeah.
And the problem is, it's really cool that everybody loves AI and everybody wants to have a data center, but they sometimes forget you better be close on the energy piece, right? If it's water, if it's wind, solar, yes, absolutely. Nuclear is in the mix too, not for us, but for others. And there we really bring in a lot of scale and a lot of expertise already, as we are one of the bigger energy transition fund managers in Europe.
Yeah. So you want to go on the power side rather than really like on the tokens or anything like
Absolutely.
that.
The data center and the data storage place is so crowded, and I'm more than happy if they become lucky clients of ours if they need energy.
Got it. Crystal ball time. Our session is titled 2026, which is in 3 weeks. So where do you allocate it 3 weeks? I think you already know, but let's hear what are the big themes for next year?
On the credit side, look, we remain very cautious on the public listed side. Look, we will see, I think, certain volatility, and that also is very much driven by geopolitics, by the tensions. And I'm not going down the route because I can give you the full Monty. I truly believe, for example, that AI and technology is not a bubble at all, because the demand is still not there where the supply is, and the other way around. So there is still a gap to be bridged. So that means there is bigger demand than supply. So that means by default, it can't be a bubble. Other than that, on the infrastructure side, we very much focus really on energy and energy transition. There's a huge demand. If you think about Europe per se, it's an 800 billion grid play per year over the next 5 years to update and to innovate our grids, and from the north to south and west to east. And if you look into US, it's pretty much the same challenge. So if you look into the opportunities you have in that credit place, both debt and equity, we feel very well placed there. And there's also a huge demand to partner up with development banks. The supply of money is there, yeah, but the demand is so much bigger. And it needs and yells for public-private partnerships. We do this with KfW, we do it with EIB, we do it with foundations. They provide guarantees on blended finance. Somebody else is taking the loss leader piece. We come in with very innovative structure, taking senior secured place, and our capital raise and our deployment is on average 2 times better than the market average.
Okay. If we switch back just to the region itself, when we call it as a bucket, Middle East, we could call it the Gulf, but they're obviously very different countries. Each one has, well, in the Gulf for the most part, mostly stable governments, but still different risk factors. What do you look at when you're assessing it? Are you really looking Gulf, or even like the 3 plus 3 UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, then the other 3? How does that alliance look?
We have chosen UAE because, to a certain extent, and now this is really a very tough question for a European to answer. But our perspective is this is very much like Singapore, right? It's perceived as neutral in the GCC, in the broader region. Within 1.5 hours, you can reach every country in the region, which is important to us. And of course, we need to sweep the stairs from the top to the bottom. We do start here, absolutely. We do business with all sovereign wealth funds in the region. We do cover clients via distribution partnerships on the banking side. We do high net worth. We have a huge insurance business in the region on the health side. We want to come in also for the end of service liabilities. So we can really bring a lot to the table. We don't want to push products only. See Allianz more holistically, what we can bring to the table as being one of the largest provider for DB and DC schemes globally, and also having a huge expertise on the asset management side. And the beauty also is if you invest with Allianz Global Investors, you always have an aligned interest between one of the largest financial conglomerates called Allianz SE, because they always invest with us and alongside us. So there's always aligned interest. We don't come to you, oh, this is the greatest invention ever. We always have skin in the game.
One thing you mentioned right now is just this end of service aspect, and you know, people who are from the region in the audience or from the UAE know that a lot of, you know, all the companies basically are sitting on these you know, cash accounts on their books and figuring out how to fund them when people leave. But that is now opening up. So what do you look at in terms of size of opportunity? What can be offset from companies to
look? It's early on, because it's always a question how you create such a DC plan. If you do this via an occupational pension, if you do this mandatory, and I don't want to stop with the end of service only. I mean, as an expert, you also have to have proper health coverage globally. So, for example, Allianz Group is one of the biggest assistance providers. If you travel, we give you a guarantee within 24 hours, we find you the best treatment, the best hospital at the best price. So, and this is that peace of mind we want to generate at Allianz Global Investors. So it's more broadly that we can bring, I think, a lot of expertise to the region.
Yeah, but on that fact, are you looking at providing that product in the region, or do you have like partners lined up for it?
We will come in with a fully fledged solution.
Yeah. Okay. Soon, I guess. Yeah. Okay. We don't need to break.
Don't start the rumoring now, right?
We don't need to break news on that here today, but you know, so when you look at, again, at the region, like these products, right? So if somebody wanted to get on a more individual level into infrastructure, into that sort of stuff, are these products being distributed in the Gulf right now, or how do you get that raised?
This is the beauty being in ADGM. I'm pretty sure you can have a very robust, frank, and transparent discussion what we need as a vehicle. In Europe and in Asia, we already do this with LTIF, with Evergreens. So there are structures available which will allow retail investors to go into. We need to manage liquidity, which is for us, as we have an own balance sheet and on a life insurance book, it's much easier than maybe other providers. But you will be surprised positively, I hope, when we go live.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tobias. That's all I have today. And thank you to the audience for listening to me.
Thank you.